core thing that we're going to sort of talk about tonight is how can you sort of write down these triggers, make your time, and again, make these packs a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of use this document here that's in Quip. And so I'm going to take just a quick minute here and sort of go into Quip for a second and sort of share this with you guys as we go. So let me pause this here just a quick second. What we're going to do now is we're going to complete your traction plan. So for you guys on the screen here a little bit, if you guys could just take a quick second here and actually go into Quip, that would be wonderful. And I'm going to, oops, let me see if I can move this. We're going to, again, sort of use Quip to our advantage here. So let me take you guys into our folders. Let's see if you can see it. So inside our main folder, sorry, I'm going to have to navigate for just a quick second here, but we'll get there. I'm going to stop sharing to make sure I can share the right screen here so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So let me share my screen onto Quip. All right. So I'm going to take us into our classroom. Sorry, I got to like navigate here just a second. So trust me a little bit while I do this. So this should be in our main screen here, our main sort of room together. Sorry, I have a bunch of folders that are open, but eventually you'll see it. All right. Can you guys on the screen see this here? All right, so I'm going to take us into the templates folder right here. So now, once we go into the template, it should be in here. And what you all are going to do is you're going to make a copy of this document. So simply right-click on it and just sort of click the button that says Copy Document. So when you copy it, again, you'll sort of just make a copy of it and put it into your private folder. So I'm just going to change this to Eric Koester. And I'm going to put this as an example for you guys. So I'll put it in here right now so you guys can sort of see it. But I'm going to put it kind of right in our templates folder. But again, make a copy of it. And again, this is going to be sort of the document that we're going to use. It's going to really help us. So this is, again, the sort of the template document that you're going to create. Now, the goal here is to actually create this document so that you can share it with your editor. And again, a lot of the things that you're going to be talking about are really to help you essentially be able to sort of walk through things. So start out by writing a few sentences about your, again, sort of like book direction. So this might be some of the things from your big idea. I'm going to make up one as we go. So this book explores the intersection of STEM and female empowerment, focusing on how more STEM education in emerging countries can lead to better outcomes for girls and women. This explores some of my stories while living abroad. All right? So that's just sort of a thing. You can, again, write what you want, whatever it is. This is nonfiction, so whatever it is. And working title. So I'll just make up one for now, STEM and the future of women. And then maybe I don't have a subtitle yet, so I'll just leave this as NA for now. All right, so now then what we're going to do is we're going to sort of talk a little bit about like some of these things. So I want to start out with you envisioning, again, what you want this book to do for you. And so I want you to sort of answer some of these things. Again, put as much or as little as you want, but why are you doing this? Besides just, I want to write a book, what are the things you're trying to do here? So I want to publish this book because, and I want you to check all of the ones that apply for you. So again, this could be any of these things that are important to you. Again, I want to use this book to get me a job that I really am excited about. So this book would help me there. So just click on that one. Again, it'll cross it off, but your editor will know. Maybe you want to use this book to do more speaking or workshops. So I have some experience with speaking. I want to use this book to help me take my speaking to the next level. Or maybe you want to use this book to go on podcasts and radio shows and demonstrate thought leadership. Or maybe you have a startup, or you want to break into an industry, or maybe you want to be a full-time writer. So click the things that matter to you. And again, fill these ones out. Again, your editor will use these to be able to get to know you a little bit better. Then what else would be super cool? I mean, what would be the things that have happened would be awesome? So maybe I want to meet Oprah, right? Like maybe that's one of your things. Or I want to make the Forbes 30 under 30. Or I want to go back to my high school and give a talk to the entire school. Or maybe I want to use my book to launch a nonprofit. Whatever it is, like just identify what are those things that could be really awesome, bigger goals. And then the last thing is like besides just your paperback and digital book, which you would sort of do, what else would you like to do? Have you always dreamed about doing an audiobook and reading that one, or a hardcover that you want to give your parents, or translating it into Spanish or Chinese? Click what those ones are to you so you just have them. And again, this will just help you so that your editor sort of has a sense of where you are and how you're approaching these sorts of things. All right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the things that talk about our traction plan. And these are the elements that I think will be important here. So the first thing we're going to talk about a little bit is this idea here of your writing style. Now remember, as we talked about, there's different writing styles that people are going to do. Some people, every week they're chipping away. Other people are going to be more spiky about it. So think about the last time you had a major project. Maybe this was a big term paper, a dissertation, a project at work. How did you attack it? Something that was 60 plus pages and you had 3 months to prepare for it. Just imagine that scenario. How would you attack it? And so the first type of writer might attack this called a habit writer. And so I set aside every day some time or multiple times a week, and I try and chip away at it in that way. Now again, about 30 or 35% of people will attack this problem that way. So if you had a big project, how would you do it? And again, don't think about what you want to do, but what have you historically done? So maybe that's your style, is habit writing. The second one is, this is my own style. I do not work on a very set schedule. I usually write in bigger sessions. For me, like, remember I told you I set aside every night after they went to bed, but I didn't write every night. Not every night did it work for me. But usually when the spirit struck me, I would write. And I would write until 2, 3, 4 a.m. if I needed to. And so if that's your style, this idea of these sort of episodes where you're going to write a chunk of those and make progress, great. Then click on that one in that way. And the last one is like, and again, don't judge yourself if this is you, but like, I get most of my best work done right before it's due. I'm a deadline writer. I'm someone who, I see a deadline, and again, I could try, but I'm really going to get my stuff at the end. And so maybe that's your style. Again, you maybe find yourself to be a couple of these styles, but what's your primary style you want to do? The next one we're going to talk about is, again, sort of an important one. And this is the idea of identifying the things that make you the most nervous about this book. These are the sort of the internal triggers that we wrestle with. So the first one is this idea of boredom. And again, you've been working on your books for the last few weeks here. I feel uncertain about the direction. As I've begun to explore and done some writing, I'm having doubts as if it's exciting as I thought. And so if the thought of you working on this topic for the next year or so makes you feel like not excited, then this might be boredom, might be the thing. Now again, it's not that these are bad, just be aware of them so that we can solve around these sorts of things. Or maybe the next one is this idea of loneliness. You're not enjoying the process of alone, bless you. And so I feel energized when we have these sessions, but afterwards I start to find myself feeling like not motivated. Again, I don't like working on it myself. And again, that's not bad. Maybe just you need to use these sort of library sessions or what may have you. The third one, which is the one I wrestled with, is I feel like an imposter. Will I really be qualified to write this book? I don't know if I can do it. Like, I'm insecure about whether I'm the right person to do it. Are people going to believe that I should be doing this one? So that's that one. And a lot of people will deal with that one. The fourth one is I feel like it's almost like you feel like fatigued. You're like so many different things that you don't even have time to sit down and think a little bit. This element of being like almost so busy that you can't sort of stop to think about things, that's kind of where this could be. Again, I'm nervous that I'm going to have the dedicated time to do it. And the last one is uncertainty. Oftentimes this is, I'm uncertain with what I need to do in order to do it. I'm not sure if I have the skills. So I'm not a great writer. English is not my first language. I've never written this much content. Maybe you're uncertain in that way. So pick which of those, one or two, are the biggest ones. You're probably going to face all of these at some point, but identify the biggest. Now, the last thing I want you to talk about is we're going to talk about who are the people that are likely to help you with your packs. And so I want you to list the 3 people that you would describe as a mentor, a confidant, an advisor that's in your life. So maybe the first one here might be, I labeled mine Allison, my wife. Excuse me, I can't write her name. My wife. I talked about sort of Shane, who, gosh, I can't spell. Shane, who is a long time business sort of confidant. I talked about my brother Mark and my college friend Heather. Right? Now, again, the important thing to know is that you can talk about these with your editor and help you identify packs behind them. So take just a minute and go through these ones, and again, you can always come back to them. Now we're going to take this and turn this into our traction plan. And writing these things down will help you start to sort of verbalize and internalize these things. So the first thing is to sort of identify what is your style. So I am an episodic writer. That's kind of my style. But I'm going to put in here that, again, I sort of, at times I will be a deadline writer, all right? So once you sort of identify these things, it can really help you and your editor know what your approach is. Now, what is your plan to schedule time? How are you going to do this one? So, are you going to be someone who has time multiple days a week, like 4 or 5 times, or bigger chunks of time, or deadlines, or what is your sort of style in that regard? So for me, I said I'm planning to schedule time after the kids go to bed. right? That's what my style is. So what is this for you? Identify that piece of it. Now the third one is, again, this idea of the things that make you nervous, but also sort of ways that you can overcome them. And again, it's not bad to have these sorts of fears. It's sort of, you have to understand how you're going to overcome it. So, one of the things maybe you are, we talked about up here is that maybe you're, you're worried about, I'm nervous about this being the right book topic for me. And so, but I know that, to way you can address that one, how do you overcome that? Well, but I know that I don't need to know the exact topic yet. I have an author who spent all the way through week 10 before she changed her topic to fiction. So that's one. Or maybe it's like this idea of loneliness. I don't like to write alone. And so that's the thing you're feeling. And so maybe it's sort of, I'm going to use library sessions in that way to be around people. Or, as I talked about here, my concern was imposter syndrome, like sort of this idea of insecurity. So maybe that's your concern. And sort of then that way is like, I know that it's sort of, I know that it's just Eric who reads my first draft. There you go. All right, and the last thing I want you to do is I want you to write out, I am an Indistractable author. The reason I want you to do that one is this is something that you're going to turn yourself into. It's not easy, but it is something that you can do. And so I am an Indistractable author. And again, your editor will help you make this thing happen, but it is a key sort of thing that you could certainly do. So again, the goal of this entire thing here is I want you to, again, sort of see this as a tool for you to be able to succeed. That's kind of why we do it in these sorts of ways. And remember, the goal behind sort of becoming Indistractable is this tool, this way that you can sort of help yourself succeed in these sorts of things. So let me sort of play this screen again here. All right. So again, what I want you to sort of continue to focus on a little bit is this idea here that use this traction plan to help yourself, to help you sort of use this as a tool that you're going to sort of continue to write with. So let me get this thing going. So I want you to sort of, again, use this as a tool that's going to help you to succeed. And again, prepare this before you meet your editor. Share it with them so they sort of know. Now, remember, the other thing that we're going to need to do to succeed in this one is have to make traction time. Now, traction time is one of those things that, especially when you're a busy student in college, you have work, you have jobs, all these things, how do you do it? Well, remember, the key thing I want you to think about is that it's making the time on your calendar and owning it. So that's one of those things, these library sessions that we talked about. It's time on the calendar. Attend them. Block them off and attend that time. Having 4 hours on the calendar just to do work can be really great. Remember, Lynn will invite you to these. We'll do these every other week, but if you want sort of 4 hours of time to do it, great. There's other people who are in that same sort of thing. But no matter what you do, you have to own your calendar. You're going to need to spend 2 to 4 hours a week. And again, that could be a little spiky, but you're going to have to do it. So block it off on your calendar and then show up. And the most important thing when you sort of show up for this time is be proud of showing up. Don't worry about how much you do or how much you don't do. Just be proud of the fact. Because what happens is if you get your butt in the seat every week for your 2 to 4 hours a week, eventually this is going to compound and you're going to be surprised at how much you do. But if you don't get your butt in the seat, you let yourself distracted, you will never sort of get where you want to go. Honestly, the big thing to know about traction is success comes from showing up. So just show up. And if you do it repeatedly and over time, this will work for you in some magical ways. All right, so the last things we're going to talk about tonight before I kind of let you guys get out of here is what to sort of do now. What are the things to do? So first thing to understand is that this week I'm going to have you guys be connecting with your editors and use your traction plan to guide the conversation. It really is sort of neat that you can sort of have this sort of cut through the BS and basically tell them what you're nervous about, what you're concerned about, and how you're planning to attack this. Having someone on the same page as you will be a big thing.